there, but I can hear the piston, or pistons, a little bit. But it's still very, very cold. Barely creeping up off the bottom there. And it barely runs past this line ever. It always sits low. I think normal's supposed to be in here. I've got that single row aluminum radiator in here out of a Beamer. Borden does its job. And an 8-blade or 8 impeller water pump, factory type crap. Nothing fancy. Well, let's get some food. Drive with one hand. Things they did when I had this thing, I dropped the pumpkin off to have a suregrip put in it, something I didn't want to do or have the time to do myself, and they put too many frictions in it. It's full-time posi now. Gotta fucking take it back. There's not one thing that's ever been done right when I send it out. Shit you not. Tires. I haven't put air in these things probably 8 years. This car sat for 8 years. I just dropped the motor in it, kind of put it back on the road. It's kind of cool that it didn't need anything else. Well, it needs a lot, but not to run and drive. Fucking thing had like 18 pounds in the tires, barely 20. gas station sucks. $2.50 for air for 5 minutes of air. With a fucking compressor the size of a tennis shoe. So it takes you, 5 minutes to get 3 tires, and then you go pay for another 5 minutes to air up the last one. Great scam. Oh man, I just noticed that. Looks like varmints got in my car through the old shifter boot. Usually fires off a lot faster. I'll have to do some more tuning on this thing, of course. Maybe it is on the video. Find out. This one, this block had oil problems or oiling issues to the mains. It had the two holes, you know, one feeding the main journal and then the one going up to the cam journal. But those holes did not line up with your typical bearing at all. In fact, the hole ended up right above where the feed going back up to the cam journal was, but there was barely a third of it open to the hole feeding the actual main journal. So it was starving the engine, and I'd found signs of that in the rod bearings, you know, after buzzing it up 7,000 RPM a few times, and then having that piston scuff going back through the motor, just kind of inspecting everything, seeing how it was. And I mean, this thing used to have a little like high oil pressure at idle all the time. Well, that's because, yeah, it was restricted at the fucking mains. So I opened the holes up. I made them pill shape. So they're completely open to the main feed, the main, you know, main journal feed from the lifter galley. And I do have lower oil pressure at idle now, but that's because a shit ton is blowing off the main and the rods, as opposed to being limited by the, you know, basically partially closed hole in the bearing, or partially closed main feed due to the bearings misalignment. So now, yeah, of course, it's going to be 25 pounds now, and it's not going to be 40 or 50 at idle, because it's able to flow. You know, I got oil blowing out the rods and mains. Maybe I could have still limited the size of that hole, but instead of guessing with an oil issue, I just went, hey, let's get all the oil we can. So I opened it up to the actual size, and I'm sure there's a lot blowing off, but I'm good with it. I want the bearings to live in this thing. I like this place. Favorite coffee joint. I was just up at my dad's place in Fresno, and I found my black floor shift column, so I'm going to put that in. I kept going back and forth whether I wanted to paint it the original color or do an all black car. I might just do the original color. It's pretty cool, I think. Yeah, I hacked my door panels. Sorry. Want to hear music? I also put some Recaro seats in this car, so you don't roll around when you're taking turns. Things hold your foot real well. Got to do the headliner still. Rear windowsill. Thing runs cold-blooded. Coast Highway. fucking elote something, cabbage, garbage. From out of town. Probably Escondido by the way they're dressed. Star Theater. This place over here on the corner, Alfredo's, killer crunchy chicken tacos, really fucking good. And of course wiener schnitzel. Oh, they redid the whole fucking place. Used to have a yellow roof. Do this shit quick. Pay attention. Harbor and all that. Beach. 5 freeway right here. Take us by the harbor. Over here is this little floating dock, if you will, where all the like sea lions and shit like that hang out. And of course it smells like shit because that's what sea lions do, is lay around and shit everywhere. I don't know if they're there this morning. Over here. Fucking stinks. This way it kind of dead ends at like a hotel. There's like a restaurant over here. Probably just do a U-turn. vacuum gauge is really good to tell you you're getting good mileage. Just kidding. I have that so I can dial in the power valve. It's a good indicator to see if things are falling apart, if you're losing seal, if your vacuum starts dropping off really bad. That's a great tuning aid, that vacuum gauge. Lets you know you need a higher power valve than you think you do. Usually quite a bit higher rating. So this thing idles at, let's say it's 10 inches of vacuum or so, 10 to 11 or whatever at idle. So knee-jerk reaction for most people just reading a book or something, they'd put in a half that power valve or maybe 3/4 of that power valve. You probably want to put about right below that reading, because most of the time you're going to be well above that. And then when you hit the gas, it's going to dip right just below where your idle vac is when you get on it for power. And you want it to respond quickly and not lean spike on you. Destroy an engine and definitely hurt your performance if you have a lean spike. That dude's weird. A lot of weird people at the beach. Got a crab shack. Place is okay. It's a shithole now, but it used to be really good. They give you a lot less for what you pay, and you pay more now too. The handicap drivers are the worst, it seems like. For being as handicapped and pretty much shiftless because of it most of the time, They're in the biggest hurry. People like the car. Guess you don't see too many 67 Valiants rolling around anymore. Especially that look as bad as mine. No, no, the sound is tough, probably. They're all 4 doors anymore. Little 13-inch rim. Granny cars. Less left to dissolve in the elements. Let's go over here now. Pacific Street. Down there is where the bocce ball tournaments are held. This strand fire department goes. Guys are cool, you know. Everybody's usually pretty cool around here, except for the out-of-towners. They fucking suck. Here. Interesting. We got an outdoor amphitheater over there. Timeshares and stuff over here. Top Gun house over here too. The one that from the movie. It used to be a couple blocks ahead. My friend rented it and lived in it for a while. We used to party there. And then they moved it right here. The Top Gun house from the movie. There's the bike you can get on and take pictures. Well, you know, a bike similar to it. But that's not the original location. That's all downtown. I'll probably go through there when I come back. They pretty much developed it into a tourist attraction and cast a shadow over it with all the hotels. So it really does suck. There used to be a place called the Cabo, and I'd eat there. You could eat up on the roof. Everybody went there for that reason. You could see the ocean and sit in the sun and get hammered all day long. Just have a great time. And the food and the beer and everything drinks were good prices, you know. Fairly priced. A little different now. And this is Oceanside Beach, the main one. That's where everybody goes to. Cliffs and stuff, houses, blah, blah, blah. It's not the sunniest of days, so you're not going to see bikini bottoms out right now so much. Probably see more bums than you do bikini bottoms on a day like this. Not the kind of bums you want to see, right? Yeah. $1,200. There's one room, maybe it's a studio, and that was pricey then, and now they're, you know, $4,000 probably. They're not torn down and redeveloped into something else like this. I think it was this house right here. That was Junior Seo's house. San Diego Charger. These are all timeshare shitholes. graveyard. Bowling alley. Fun place to go. That's where you wash your car out there, buddy. Go, asshole! People like that, I'm telling you. Fucking hothead. Definitely don't want to drive behind them. Fucking idiot. Oh fuck. Look at this guy. You're a fucking idiot, that's why. Fucking bearded asswipe. Bye, asshole. Ay, fuck out of here. I think all the tourists and like that just make it kind of like not as fun to drive around.